Welcome back, everyone. My name is Patrick. You're watching the Oilers Rundown, broadcast on the Oilers Fanatic and the Heavy Hockey Network. Well, as of 12:01 this morning was the Edmonton Oilers' final trade of trade deadline day. End up only doing the one trade. Like I said, at 12:01, bringing in Jake Wallman from the San Jose Sharks, as it was made official at that time. The Oilers sending a conditional first-round pick and prospect Carl Berglund back to the San Jose Sharks. There was talk throughout the day that the Oilers were in on some big stuff. Apparently, they did try for Mikko Rantanen, according to insider Brian Lawton, but obviously lost out to the Dallas Stars there. They were in on Chicago Blackhawks forward Ryan Donato right until the final minutes, but Chicago opts to hang on to Ryan Donato. He does not move anywhere. And there was also some belief that the Edmonton Oilers were in on Boston Bruins forward Brad Marchand, who ends up with, of course, the Florida Panthers. So none of those big things happened for the Edmonton Oilers. So the biggest thing I think they do at this trade deadline is bring in defenseman Jake Wallman, a top four left shot D that this team definitely needed. As I've mentioned in previous videos here, Jake Wallman can play both sides. It's expected that he will play with Darnell Nurse in the top four, but we'll have to wait and see what head coach Chris Knobloch shows us in the next practice before the Oilers take on the Dallas Stars tomorrow night. I'm hoping and I'm thinking that Jake Wallman does indeed join the Edmonton Oilers for tomorrow night's game against Dallas. It would be great to add him to the lineup, especially with Matthias Ekholm dealing with illness. John Klingberg has a small minor injury that's going to keep him out for a little bit. So the Oilers could definitely use Jake Wallman in multiple ways in the lineup. Max Jones had a fantastic debut for the Edmonton Oilers last night against the Montreal Canadiens, picking up his first point as an Oiler, assisting on a Corey Perry breakaway goal that gave you chills, right? So hopefully Max Jones can continue that strong play. It's just one game, but for a debut, that's a pretty strong one with the Edmonton Oilers. Trent Frederic, I'll have more on him in a few moments, but he's going to be a little while away here before he can make his Oilers debut. So the Oilers get the win last night over Montreal. They don't get much more help added today other than Jake Wallman, like I said. So they're going to have to rely on guys that are here existing to step up their game. The win over Montreal last night was a step in the right direction. Stuart Skinner looked much better last night, but clearly this team is going to have to find a way to do it in-house. Trent Frederic will help eventually here. Max Jones is already making an impact. I think Jake Wallman will make an impact on the blue line for the Oilers, both offensively and defensively, but ultimately they're only three guys. The rest of this team needs to find a way to step up. Whatever has been ailing Connor McDavid of late, hopefully he can get going here. He looked better last night as well, was making some plays, so the Oilers should be okay, but they've been in a little bit of a rut here, had people worried, so hopefully this strong play can continue when they take on the Dallas Stars, who will probably have Mikko Rantanen in the lineup tomorrow night. So let's go over all the updates that we got from Oilers GM Stan Bowman at today's press conference. First off, as expected, Evander Kane will not be back for the regular season. He's going to return at some point in the Stanley Cup playoffs for the Edmonton Oilers. They still don't know, obviously, officially when, but we kind of knew after the Oilers made the Jake Wallman trade and there was no retention, bringing in $3.4 million, using a lot of Evander Kane's LTIR space, that it was probably official that Evander Kane wasn't coming back, but the Oilers making that 100% ironclad official today that Evander Kane will not be back for the rest of the regular season. Trent Frederic could be used as a third-line center or a top-six winger, so possibly we see Frederic create some chemistry with Leon Draisaitl, maybe even Connor McDavid. We know Pat Maroon did exactly that, another tough guy in the past here for the Edmonton Oilers. I think Trent Frederic is a more talented player than Pat Maroon is, so it could be a big factor here for the Edmonton Oilers in the top six, but otherwise Trent Frederic could be tried as the Oilers' number 3 center, so we'll see what officially happens with Frederic. I'm sure they'll try him in a couple different ways. Head coach Chris Knobloch, as we know, just loves to shake up this lineup, so I'm sure we'll see Frederic tried in both spots here in the coming weeks. He's still expected to be back before April, but no official timeline on Trent Frederic to announce. 2 to 3 weeks remains the estimation for his return, but GM Stan Bowman did say he should be back before April 1st. GM Stan Bowman also said the Oilers will carry as many players as they can here the rest of the way to create internal competition. Basically, if you're not performing, you're sitting, and hopefully this will bring out the best in our current players here. Like I said, there's quite a few guys on this team that need to step up right now. The win over Montreal was a step in the right direction, but there's still a lot of steps to get back to the level that this team was playing at earlier in the season. So that was great to hear from GM Stan Bowman. Overall, it's probably a disappointing day for a lot of people. I know a lot of people wanted the Oilers to bring in a goaltender. They don't do that, so that was the expected outcome, that it was going to be Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. So we get what we expected. No Mikko Rantanen, no Ryan Donato, no Brad Marchand. So no huge names for the Edmonton Oilers at this trade deadline, but they had two guys in Trent Frederic and Max Jones who should have an impact on the Oilers' top nine and fourth line, and defenseman Jake Wallman, who will have an impact on the top four here and help create more offense going forward here for the Edmonton Oilers, and hopefully help Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard on the defensive side, keeping the puck out of the Oilers' net. So that's my trade deadline recap here for you, but nothing else to announce lineup-wise yet. Like I said, we don't have anything released yet for tomorrow's game against the Dallas Stars. So that's all for me for now, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the Edmonton Oilers 2025 trade deadline, bringing in Trent Frederic, Max Jones, and Jake Wallman to hopefully get this team over the top. Did the Edmonton Oilers do enough in your estimation? I would have liked to have seen a top six winger added, but the Oilers do potentially have a Vander Kane coming at some point. Matt Savoy looked good in his audition there, so maybe the answer does come internally here for the Edmonton Oilers. But let me know your thoughts on the 2025 trade deadline overall in the comment section below. If this is your first visit to the channel and you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing for all the latest Oilers content. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan.